6.2 solving multi-step linear equations. Now, like I was telling you when we just corrected our worksheet, most of the worksheet was pretty nice and I had the variable on what side? The left side. Now today, they're going to be on both sides, but when you draw your line down the inequality sign, it's best if you move the variable to the left side and move the numbers to the right side. That way you won't have to do that last step. It'll save you time, you won't have to flip it around. Do I even have to worry about it in this one? If I draw my line down the inequality, if I were to box my variable here, 5, 6, x minus 2, what do I need to do to solve that? Just pretend it's a regular old equation. What would I do first to solve that?
Add 2.
Yep, I would have to add 2 to both sides. So do that. That leaves me with 5, 6, x. Do I have to flip the sign or does it stay the same? It stays the same. And now I have what? 18 plus 2 is 20. Now to solve that, I have to do what?
You have to divide fractions, but you can't do that, so you'd have to multiply it with the reciprocal.
Exactly. Because this is 5, 6 times x, so that would be like dividing it by 5, 6. Dividing this by 5, 6. This cancels out, leaves me with x. Do I need to flip the sign by dividing by a negative number? Nope, so that stays the same. But we can't divide fractions. You have to do what? Flip and multiply. So, do we flip the first number?
No.
No. Turn this to multiply, and now this turns to 6 over 5, the reciprocal. I could go and get 120 over 5 and simplify. Or 5 goes into here once, 5 goes into here 4. Now I have what over what?
24 over 1.
Which equals?
24.
24. So, we just solved x is less than or equal to 24. What does that tell us? The solution is all real numbers what?
Greater than or less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to 24. So anything that is less than or equal to 24 would work. Okay, now this is the problem I was talking about. We've got a less than sign in here. I've got 9 minus 3t on this side, and I've got 7 plus 2t on that side. Now you know that when you solve equations, it doesn't matter. You know, we could bring the 7 over here, and we could put the 3t over there. Red rover, send over. But like I was just telling you, who can tell me what we should do to make our life easier?
You should keep the 3t by itself on one side.
Okay, we want to keep the 3t over on this side, so what do I move then?
The 2t.
Okay, I want to get this over here to keep our variable on the left side. So how do I move a positive 2t?
Subtract it.
Minus a 2t, that cancels out. Minus a 2t over here. Now what do I have left on this side?
9 minus 2t.
Close. 9 minus
5t.
5t. Do I flip the sign since I did minus 2t?
No.
Nope, because I didn't multiply or divide. So it's still less than, what's left over here? The 7. Okay, one another step. Red rover, send over what?
9.
And how do I do that?
Subtract.
Good. I minus the 9 to both sides to get that gone. Negative 5t is less than, what's a positive 7 and a negative 9?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. And I still need to get t by itself, so my very last step, multiply or divide, which one do I do? I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 5. Therefore, t is greater than, because we're dividing by a negative. So I flip this, it turns it to greater than what? A negative 2 over a negative 5?
2/5.
Just leave it as a positive 2/5. So the solution is all real numbers that are what? That are what?
Greater than.
Greater than 2/5. Can it be 2/5?
No.
No, because there's no equal to sign under there. So it couldn't be 2/5. Anything that's a smidgen bigger works.
Don't you have to flip the -5 because it's a negative? Because it is a negative.
We did flip the sign right here. It was less than, we made it greater than because we're dividing by a -5. So when you divide both sides by a negative, that's why we flipped it right here. Now, puzzle, here we go, and you have the back end of your worksheet have these on them. And they're not hard, they're actually pretty simple. They will be on your tests and quizzes. And what do we always know when we have word problems? You always need a
Label.
label. Excellent. Long distance calls. You know what? And this is what it was like when I'm this age of myself. But when I was in high school, we didn't have cell phones. All we had was a landline. We didn't have internet where we could just talk to people on Facebook or email or whatever. So the only way we could communicate was through our landline phone. And then the phone companies would charge, in this case, they would charge 0.045 cents per minute that you would talk long distance on the phone. If they didn't live right in your town, if it was long distance, so say if I had a boyfriend in another town 2 towns over, if I wanted to call, mom and dad say fine, but if you spend more than $20 in a month on phone bills, you're going to be grounded. So, how many minutes could I talk to my boyfriend way over and 2 towns over without getting grounded? A minute?
Oh,
A minute only costs how much? 0.045. It doesn't even cost, if you rounded it, it would be how many cents?
Not even a penny.
If you rounded it, how many cents would that be?
1,
50.
5,
What would that be if you rounded it?
5.
It would be 5 cents, but we're going to be even more. They're going to give us even a better deal. It's only going to cost us 4.5 cents, all right? So we need to write an inequality to represent my life so I don't get grounded.
How can you have half of a cent?
It's just like when you're paying sales tax here in town, you pay 6.5%. Half of a penny, half of a cent.
But
Adds up when you start taxing thousands and thousands of dollars.
I know, but you can't just chop a penny in half.
Well, no, there's no such thing as a currency coin that I can give you for 1/2 cent. But I can charge that on and then round it when I charge taxes.
But then that's overcharging.
No. Nope, people vote on it. It's not overcharging. Okay? So back to this, we have 0.045 cents per minute, and then they also charge me $5 a month just to have my phone, my landline, all right? I cannot go over $20 without getting grounded. What can I set up here to figure out and show? Here's some clues to help you. What does it cost per minute? 0.045, and I take that times the number of minutes. How many minutes can I talk? Do I know yet?
No.
That's my unknown. So 0.045 times x, and then what do I have to add to that?
5.
My $5 monthly fee that they charge me, and that has to equal $20.
Less
Less
than
than.
or equal to.
Less than or equal to.
It has to be less than or equal to $20, otherwise I'm going to get grounded. And I would have gotten grounded if I went over it. All right? Let's figure out how many minutes I could have talked in a month to my boyfriend that lived 2 towns over. What do I do first?
-5.
Everybody agree? Guys want to minus the 5? Red Rover, send over. Okay, minus the 5. That cancels out and makes 0 on this side. We have 0.045x left. Do I have to flip the sign since it's minus 5 in both?
No.
Nope. Okay, good. Is less than or equal to what? Now I'm down to $15. Okay, because I have to take the $5 fee out. So now I have $15 left to spend for the month at 0.045 cents per minute. What do I do with my last step? I do what?
Divide.
Divide both sides by
0.045.
0.045. Do I flip the sign?
No.
No. So x is less than or equal to what?
333.
Round it to the nearest minute.
333 minutes.
333. So in order for me not to get grounded, who can put it into words for me? What did we just solve? Exactly. So what label do we want to go here?
Minutes.
Minutes. In order for me not to get grounded, I cannot go over 333 minutes in that month, or my phone privileges would have been gone. How many hours is that? 333 minutes.
13 hours.
How many hours is that on the phone in a month?
Almost 14 hours.
What would you divide it by?
60.
There's 60 minutes in an hour.
5.5.
5.55 hours. So in a month I could only talk for a little over 5.5 hours.
Both sucks. Don't be that bad.
All right. Next one. All right, do we agree with that one? So what did she do? She minus 17 first and got a negative x is greater than or equal to a negative 5. Then we can't have a negative variable, just like she did here, so she divided by a negative 1. Did she flip her sign?
Yeah.
Excellent, and there we have it. Okay, who's up? Number 2. All right, so now we came up with x is greater than a negative 5, so that's an open circle, arrow to the right. Nice. Okay. And another puzzle. There are 4 problems today, 5 problems today on your worksheet like this. How many of you are from South and have the school carnival? Is any of you familiar with that? Sorry. Anyway, if your school carnival charges $2 for admission to get in, and they charge 50 cents for each game, you get $5.50 to go to the carnival with. Write and solve an inequality that represents a possible number of games that you can play. What is the maximum number of games that you can play? So think about the one we just did with the landline, the phone. Now let's write an inequality about the carnival and the money we have. Who wants to start it out? Sure, come on up. Give it a try. See what you come up with for your inequality. Thank you. All right, we've got 0.5x plus 2 has to be less than or equal to 550. Is this 0.5? Is this okay? What does this mean, 0.5?
It's the same as 50 cents.
Is that the same as 50 cents?
No.
Do we need to put 0.50?
No.
If we did put 0.50, would it change our answer?
No.
No. So she just left it as 0.5, which is fine. Means the same thing. What do I do to solve it then?
-2.
Minus 2 to both sides. So I have 0.5x is less than or equal to 3.5. Now what? Divide by 50 cents, or 0.5. So x has to be less than or equal to what? It has to be So in words, what did we just solve for? It says, what is the maximum number of games that you can play? The maximum number of games you can play is 7. So am I done? If that was my word problem, just circle that like that?
No.
You need to label.
Label 7 what?
Games.
Games. All right. Here's your worksheet.